This is the complete story series brought to you by Team Comicstorian. It's the most epic way to recap your favorite storylines in comic books with music, voices, and sound effects, but we highly recommend picking up your favorites as we do leave out some of the plot points to allow for a speedy recap. In the DC Rebirth, there has been a large mystery since the beginning, the mystery of who is Clark Kent. You see, this is the same timeline as the New 52, and in that timeline, we had a Superman who went by the name Clark Kent, but he died heroically saving the world. No. He saved his friends. Luckily, this world would not be without a Superman. You see, in the DC universe, there is a thing called the multiverse. Other universes with different possibilities for your favorite heroes. A Superman from one of these worlds found himself on the New 52 world. He is older, wiser, and more experienced. He has a wife named Lois and a son named Jonathan. He had the life that many fans of Superman wanted for Superman. But something was wrong. He didn't belong. And no matter what people said about him, no one really knew who he was. To further confuse things, a new version of Clark Kent arrived in this world and no one knew who he was. Superman himself ran tests and checked the memories of this individual, and for all intents and purposes, this Clark Kent was in fact Clark Kent. While this was going on, there is a villain known as Mr. Oz making changes to the Rebirth universe by removing key players. He's already removed Tim Drake, Doomsday, and even Prophecy from the game board as he calls it, placing them into a prison so strong that none of them can break free. So, what of the prisoners that he captured before we knew what he was doing? What if one of those prisoners got out? Mr. Oz walks through his prison into the cell of an escaped prisoner, and all he sees are the scrawlings on the wall. Superman will save me. Superman, please. Superman, where are you? Please. Superman. Superman himself is now standing in his home with his wife and son on the anniversary of their marriage. The pineapple upside down cake is placed onto the table as Superman warns his son not to use his freeze breath to blow out the candles. It's a happy time as Jonathan is sucking the frosting off of the candles and he hears someone at the door. He opens it and sees a book on the doorstep, and he looks up to see Clark Kent. Crypto runs over barking at him, but Clark looks at him. It's me, boy. Good boy. And he walks away as Superman puts on his suit. Superman and Lois have no idea who this Clark Kent is, and now he knows where they live. And as Superman floats outside, he can't see Clark anywhere. It's like he vanished. Lois looks at the book and sees the name Kent on the cover, and as she flips through the pages, her eyes grow wide as she sees them. It's Superman and Lois's lives before all of this, before the universal shift, the new farm, even before John. And as that mystery begins to settle into their minds, they see something even more mysterious. A blue flame burning away at the kitchen curtains. As any parents on a farm would do, they begin to protect their son and try to put out the flames, but they quickly discover that nothing they do works. Lois notes that things seem to be vanishing, and Superman tells her it's almost like they're being erased. But the most panicked moment begins when John looks at them with blue flames on himself, telling them, "I'm scared." Superman leaps to his son, telling him, "Everything's fine, kiddo. I'll have it out in a second." But then John vanishes from his father's arms, and Superman is left panicking, only to hear his son cry out for him. A red blur zips up the stairs to find Jonathan sitting on a pool table. He tries to reach out for him, only to have him vanish again and yell, "No!" John calls out once again for his father, so Superman breaks through the ceiling into the attic, where he grabs his son, wrapping him in his cape, and he flies out into the front yard. Lois panics, running over to her son, asking if he's okay, and Superman lays there, holding him in his arms, telling her that he thinks so. But the blue flames begin to engulf him once again. He calls out for his parents quietly, and then the fear begins to set in. He holds his father tight, trying anything not to vanish, begging for his father. "Don't let me go, Dad." But Superman closes his eyes tight, trying his best to hold on to his son without injuring him, telling him, I won't ever." But with the tears streaming down on both of their faces, they both begin to realize that there is nothing that they can do. They watch as their son begins to vanish into the night, as Superman tells him, "Focus on my eyes, stay with me." But that's the last thing that they see. His eyes as they fade away, pleading with his parents not to let him go. Superman holds on to what is now only his cape, and he cries out, "No!" And they both look down at the photo album and they begin to see blank photos. As Superman tells Lois, "We didn't lose John. That Clark Kent took him, and we're gonna get him back." They begin to race over to Metropolis, where Superman swings the door open, demanding that Kent show himself. But quickly they begin to find that they have the wrong spot, as Kent isn't around. They begin their investigation, and they discover that after going through the house, it would appear that Clark Kent just moved in. He has nothing but sugary sweets and candy in his cupboards. And that's when when Clark walks in asking what they're doing. But Superman isn't playing any games anymore, and he speeds over to him with one simple question. Where is John? He grabs Clark by his shirt collar with veins bulging from his neck, but Clark seems unfazed. Your son? The one you never told me about? Maybe because you liked him better than me? Superman tightens his grip. Why would you say that? What does that even mean? Clark surprisingly kicks Superman in the chest, pushing him away. You're all so worried about saving him, but what I want to know is, why didn't you save me? Superman is tired of playing games as he jumps back in with his arm pulled back, ready to take a swing, but Clark continues. I was willing to help you, but you let me down. And then the most shocking moment happens as Clark catches Superman's punch. You left me all alone. Superman asks him, how? And Clark throws him aside like a plaything. The universe around them begins to alter and warp, and Superman just eyeballs him. I have no idea which enemy could do something so, but Clark cuts him off. Enemy? I'm your friend, Supes, the only one capable of helping you. Superman sees the world continuing to shift, and he asks the question of the day. My God, what kind of sick game is this? Game? I like games. Let's play. Instantly, Clark turns into classic Lex Luthor, holding Superman by the throat. Luthor! Superman asks him. Bert, wrong. And then he turns into Bizarro. Who I am? Bizarro? Bert, wrong again. And then he turns into Brainiac. Query, what is my name? You aren't Brainiac. Obviously, so who am I? He then turns into Mongol and begins to crush Superman's head. Say my name! You aren't Mongol. You can't say my name because you know who I am. The mysterious person continues to change into Parasite, Cyborg Superman, Doomsday, demanding to know who is he? And Lois figures it out. Mr. Mxyzptlk, and in a flash, he changes into his proper form. Ta-da! Hey there, old buddy, old pal. Superman lunges at him. Bring back our son. He didn't do anything. Mxyzptlk warps locations, telling him, maybe not, but you did forget me, so in return, I'm gonna make you forget him. And then in a red flash, he's gone, leaving Superman and Lois standing there, with Lois asking the new question of the night. Who's John? Superman falls to his knees in front of Lois, taking her hand. Lois, I need you to remember, he's our son. And she pulls her hand away. I'm flattered, Superman, but we're not family. Superman makes a fist, gritting his teeth. Mxyzptlk! And in a pop, he returns. Did someone say, a game? Yes, a game. You have to stay here and play a game. It's what we do, right? Mxyzptlk considers it for a moment, and then a sinister grin forms on his face. It's what we used to do! And with a snap, he removes the planet, bringing all three of them to a new plane of existence, one without the rules of gravity, physics, or even reality. Superman notices the whole location is very blue, and he asks him, what about that? And Mxyzptlk yells back, boring! It's just the way things look around here. It's your inner essence that makes you you and what made this. Now, let's leave Yoko Ono behind so we can have some real fun! And Superman pulls her close. Lois stays with me. Lois and Clark and Lois, you two always end up together even in the fractured quantum space-time universe. Frankly, your cosmic PDA is just gross. Even when all of that hope and optimism was split into two. Two of you to play with, and neither of you came to save me. Are you telling me that I was split in two? You'd think I'd be sad that the other one exploded into red energy, but meh, serves him right. Anyway, moving on. Welcome to Infinite Planet. In front of Superman and Lois is a weird-looking version of the Daily Planet. But Superman has had enough and he demands to know where John is. Mxyzptlk tells him that he's on top of the planet. All he has to do is get there. So Superman rockets off, only to be smacked back down. You should know, Superman, we gotta play by the rules. If you win and make it to the top, I will go far, far away and give you John. And if you lose, I'll keep John here in the 5th dimension. With that, Superman signs the contract. Meanwhile, in the planet at the top, John is floating, commenting how he misses his parents. That's when two balls of red energy float by him and they begin talking to him before handing him a photo. On that photo are the new 52 versions of Superman and Lois Lane. John smiles, asking if the balls of energy are mom and dad, and they somehow inform him that they are not. So John explains the whole situation about them all being separated, and he asks the balls of energy for help, to which they reply by giving him some of their power. Meanwhile, Superman and Lois are playing his game, a board game of sorts where they have to relive multiple situations so that he can break them up again. But in the end, nothing can separate Lois and Superman as he comes breaking out of the game, calling for his son. And that's when John hears him. So he asks the balls of energy to help him get out of his little prison. Meanwhile, it would appear that Superman and Lois are actually beginning to lose, and Superman is slowly beginning to forget his son. He knows that he has one, and that's why he's here. But what's his son's name? What is his name? And John begins to listen to this as he hears his father outside of his prison, and he feels the balls swirls of red energy, feeding him their power. My name is Jonathan Samuel Kent. And then he lets the energy surge through him, breaking his prison as he shouts, I'm your son! The prison explodes, throwing Mxyzptlk, Superman, and Lois aside as John breaks out, focusing so hard that he's biting down at his tongue. And Mxyzptlk calls them all cheaters as the energy explodes. And there stands the New 52 Superman and Lois. John exclaims that his father did it, but Mxyzptlk smirks. Maybe, maybe not. Superman lands and turns to John, wondering who he is. John tries to explain, but both Superman and Lois tell him that they don't know who he is. They aren't together. Mxyzptlk laughs, and John cries out that he said that if they reached him, everything would be fine. And Mxyzptlk asks him, do you think that I control all of this? I just take advantage of what's there. Superman reaches out, grabbing Mxyzptlk, demanding to know who is behind this and who is the boy. And Mxy continues to smile. Isn't a better question, who are you? Think about it. Is Lois even Lois? Are you even you? Or am I you? Mxyzptlk changes into Clark Kent again. So Superman pushes him aside, telling him, enough. I've played the game. I passed the test. Mxy falls to the ground, telling him, careful there, buddy. We have some unresolved issues. He then grows to the size of a building and begins to battle it out with Superman as he wants to know what is going on. But as Mxy tells him, that kid and me are leaving. Do you think I want to deal with him again? I'd much rather take the kid and hit the road than deal with Mr. Oz. Superman swoops around asking, who? The architect of all of this weirdness. And then he reaches down for John while Superman continues to battle against him. That's when John sees two blue balls hovering near him. The two new balls of energy explain that they are his parents and they need his help to be whole again. While Superman continues his fight with Mxy, John takes on the blue energy powers and uses them to shock Mxy. The blast hits him so badly that he needs to flee out of this dimension. But as he's about to go, he turns to John once again. Hey kid, this whole place is gonna come down, and someone much worse than me is surely to notice. Come with me, be my new super pal, won't you? John stands triumphantly. I'll never follow you. And with Mxy gone, the new problem presents itself as the universe around them is collapsing. John runs over to Superman and Lois, telling them that they are in fact his parents. Their memories are all messed up. They got separated into two energies, red and blue. If they merge back with the blue energy, they'll remember everything. They'll remember him. The blue energy versions of his parents float behind the New 52 versions, and they whisper that he is their son. Listen to them. Superman and Lois willingly agree to try it out, and everything begins to merge into a blast of energy. Lois holds Superman close and simply says, Clark, John. And John excitedly asks, do you remember? And Superman smiles. I do, son. I'm remembering everything and I will never forget our love again, he says, turning and smiling to Lois. Superman and Lois finally kiss, remembering everything. And John holds on to both of them, hugging them, while everyone smiles. Swirls of red, blue, and multicolored energies begin to pulse, and in a bright flash of white light, they are gone from this universe. There is one person watching all of this. The person who has the power to trap anyone in a prison. The one person that Mxy was scared of. Mr. Oz. And even he is in shock as to what is happening. You see, their love repaired what he had broken. Their love changes everything. Two timelines. Two existences, two realities, merged into something new. The timeline of the New 52 Superman and the alternate reality Superman brought together to make one cohesive timeline. One where everyone remembers this Superman as Superman. No more previous Superman and new Superman, just one Superman. He is back and the world remembers him properly now. He is Superman. He is Clark Kent. He is a member of the Justice League. He is the husband of Lois and the father to John. Now it's time to see what this brave new world holds for the new Superman. And that concludes the Superman Reborn storyline. Now, there are so many questions after this. Like, how is this going to affect the timeline? Who's going to remember what and what actual events are going to happen? Is it going to be another Green Lantern situation where once New 52 happened, we didn't know what was still in continuity, but they all acted like it was all still there? We have no idea, and this kind of just muddled the waters, but it is an exciting time for Superman fans because we are one step closer to getting back the Superman that we lost. If you want to keep up to date on what's happening in DC Rebirth, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And don't forget you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.